So, Ghost, coach, you talked about a revolving door, Harambee Stars, being a revolving door. It has also been a revolving door for coaches. And many times it comes down to they're not paid in full, they're not paid on time. What has been your experience where that is concerned, and how important is that?
Please stop that of not being paid. I've not been paid since 2013 when I was technical director for FKF. It's just the other day I was talking to Hussein Mohammed and he said, and it's something that is in the open, I mean FIFA has already said, there are debts that had been incurred by the previous federation. Okay, I will tell you a story. I mean, even 2010 we went to Tanzania to play Sekafa. We've not been paid allowances to date. So there are many players and coaches who have not been paid. But the good thing is what I'm seeing today in Kenyan football and what is a big investment, and Aduda has talked about Tanzanian League. Our football now needs to come back to reality. Harambee Stars, I would say President William Ruto made a very big contribution to Harambee Stars' success. There are so many factors that are involved. First of all, it's the technical. We have two cadres in football. We have the technical part and we have the administration. Okay, today I'm very proud because I see Mariga as the deputy president. He was my player in the national team. Harold Ndege was the CEO. He was my player in Tuscan national team. Then Boniface Sambani is now the president of FC Leopard. We are having a lot of former footballers coming into the administration. And then Hussein Mohammed as the president of the federation, he is a guy who is supposed to bring now the administration side and finances to finance the technical. Tanzania, why they have moved to the another level is because, first of all, transparency and accountability. I'll tell you, police have won the league for Kenyan League last year. I think they'll get 5 million. Yanga, who won the Tanzania Premier League, they got around 200 million Kenya shillings. They are participating in the CAF and Confederation. Football is big business, and that's why today we don't have a Tanzania playing in the Kenyan League. If there is, very few. All players from Kenya, coaches, are going now to Tanzania. Why? Aduda just said one of the players, I did my research, the top paid player today in Tanzania played for Azam is getting $25,000 per month. That is his salary. Okay, so that is what we need. Now that we have come from Chan, we have seen what an incentive from the president can do, plus other factors. We need to push to our league to another level. We need to increase our salaries so that players can stay here. Otherwise, all our players will be going to the Tanzanian League. Yesteryears, when SuperSport was producing in Kenya, we had a lot of Tanzania players coming to Kenya because they were being seen by other scouts. And Kenya was a lucrative league. You remember when we had all this Everton coming to Kenya under SportPesa sponsorship, there was so much goodwill. But right now, I think we need to pick from this momentum and move it to the next level. I mean, when you play football, is big business now, but in Kenya, it's still not business because if you win, for instance, you do business. I know a club spends around 80 million a year. When you win the championship, you get 5 million. Are we talking business? And police, in one of their games in Continental, they will lose 15 million to go play home and away. So we need to change the narrative. Now that the president has shown the way, let the corporate world also come in and join hands. Because Simba, Yanga, who are champions of Tanzania, they have the media sponsor in Azam. They want some money. They have the league sponsor, one of the banks in Tanzania, 100 million. And then they also have their sponsors. So collectively, that is what the 200 million I'm talking about, equivalent Kenya shillings, around 3.5 billion Tanzania shilling. So football is money. And if we can bring the corporate world, who have gotten some leeway in terms of government, I think there is a waiver that they get if they sponsor sports. Oh. They should take advantage of that. Okay.
Quickly, before I ask Aduda to speak finally on the key takeaways of this Chan 2024, how we maintain the momentum. This was meant to showcase local club football. There was some feedback we received that, the players selected did not necessarily represent the vast array of clubs.
In terms of player selection, you don't have to really make a regional balance. Okay, it's like saying athletics. We know most of our athletes, the best, are coming from Rift Valley. So they are talented. I would say in terms of team selection, you don't look at regional, you just look at raw talent. What is there to be given? So you cannot really say that there was no balance. No, I would say, and there is a very easy way of saving. the top players play at the top clubs. That is the Premier League. And that is where McCarthy has picked his players from. So there's a sieving system that does that. But just before you go to Adoda, I think we have got a lot of benefits from this CHAN. Number one, in terms of economy, we have seen visitors coming, like 54 president of CAF have landed in Nairobi just the other day to come and watch the CHAN. That's money. That's hotel money. All these clubs that have played here, 19 teams that came to East African region, that is money. Volunteers, a local organizing committee. We now know that AFCON is coming in 2027. The lessons learned, we know that what is supposed to be done and what is not supposed to be done. So there's a lot of things that we have benefited from this. Tourism. We had teams, when they're eliminated, they go to Nairobi National Park. Kenya is a unique country that even I know, CAF have loved Kenya. So I hope that Kenya is going to benefit more from what we have seen. I mean, all the officials from CAF were staying in Nairobi. The referees were staying in Nairobi, go and officiate a game in Zanzibar, Tanzania, Uganda, and back to Nairobi. Why? Because Kenya has the infrastructure that we need. And I want to say, really, for the fans, they also played a big, big role for Harambee Stars to be able to reach where they did.
All right. Lord Vic, have the last word. My question to you is, how do we build on this momentum? There were concerns over infrastructure that caused delays, but we finally got here. How do we, build on what we've already, the foundation we've laid?
Well, it is important to note that the tournament basically belongs to CAF, but Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania were given the hosting rights. So there are certain technical parameters that must, be adhered to, with respect to the standards of CAF. Now, that is why at some point at the beginning, we were not getting things right. It's unfortunate that we ended up being fined by CAF, but that is part of learning. I believe that this was a precursor to, what is coming, the big stage which is coming up, hopefully in 2027. But there's always room to learn. Now, something else that we need to do is to realize why Morocco, ultimately, in as much as we won, against them, but what was the consistency that led to their, team eventually being declared or winning, the CHAN trophy? There are several, lessons that we can learn, more particularly with respect to, player development. And it is therefore an opportunity for the new leadership at FKF to do the correct things. I believe, and I would propose at this particular moment, that there is need to amend the FKF constitution so that, it includes the primary, sections of player development. That is, the Kenya Primary Schools Sports Association should be a member of FKF. Kenya Secondary Schools Sports Association should be a member of FKF. And the Kenya Colleges Sports Association should be a member of FKF. Now, this can only be effectively handled if there is a proper, conveyor belt where we identify the talents and nurture the talents through, progressing each youth group, engagements. Because when Osoro left, basically at some point we got almost stranded, and we panicked because we never had the kind of strikers that we could be able to, enlist in the national team. But with a good system of enhancing the conveyor belt, we will eventually, not have a quick fix, but develop, with the time such that in the next 3, 4, 5 years, then Kenyan football will really be where it is supposed to be. And that is the only moment that we can be able to attract, the corporate sponsorships. I take the opportunity to thank the president and the government and the minister, to have really shown that the sports fund can be used for such kind of incentive moments. and we can, at the end of the day, make the country proud. And the last thing I mentioned about that is the fact that we used football to show that we can be a cohesive society. For the past 1 month that Chan was here, we were all Kenyans, and I believe that we ought to use this kind of a good gesture to continue enhancing the essence of brotherhood and togetherness, and we will move this country forward. Thank you.
All right, that's a good note on which to press pause on the conversation, because this is a conversation that needs to continue. I know Sporty Monday will be getting into it as well, but